Self-doubt is rooted in not knowing what to do, or the actual fear of being in a position where you don't know what to do. And because this is what your conscious mind is focused on, this is what your subconscious mind hands you. No matter how bad your childhood was, no matter how many dreaded, horrible mistakes you've made, no matter what you've been told, all this is in your control, and being a great pool player is going to be a decision that you make. Being a horrible pool player is also going to be a decision you make if you make it. In fact, the greatest champions ever existed in the world in all time were people who've had a horrible life. And the reason why is because they had more to overcome. They weren't just beating their opponent, they were overcoming themselves, and therefore they had to try harder. Therefore, it meant more to them than a guy who's been handed everything since birth. This guy was fighting for his life. And when he won, it was everything. If you're a pool player struggling with a low confidence issue, the first thing you have to realize is that you're far from alone. You're not some rare exception. There's literally millions of us dealing with this issue today. And for the vast majority of people, this issue is going to stop them in their tracks. And they're going to grow old, and they're going to retire, and then they're going to die, never ever coming anywhere close to overcoming this issue. My name is John, and I see it as a self-appointed YouTube instructor to help you overcome this issue. I'm not going to do my best to not let you get stopped by this issue that has stopped so many millions of players. They could have been great, but they could not overcome this confidence issue. I'm going to show you how to overcome it, or at least get your foot in the door to overcoming this. If you stick with it, I promise you, you will overcome this issue. And this is a fight for your life. People make the mistake of thinking they'll overcome this issue when they get great. But the problem is they can't get great because they're dealing with this issue. So you have to start thinking about it a little bit different. Here's the layout after the break, and your job is to see the whole pattern for every single ball on this table. The 2-ball went on the side in the break, and the 3-ball went down in the left-hand bottom corner on the break. So the table's pretty open. This should actually explain itself on what you need to do. And again, I absolutely stress you need to see this whole entire pattern for the whole entire run out after the break. Bear with me, and why this is so imperative will explain itself and be obvious to you. And 1 ball is shot with a little bit of bottom left just to bounce off the right hand rail a little bit and get the right angle on the 4, just to bounce off the right hand side rail and get right on the 5 ball. And by right, I mean as straight in as you can get. You want to be on the 5-ball line, and once you see the 6-ball shot, it will be apparent to you that you'll be on that line. If you just draw back a couple inches, you'll be right on the 6-ball line for a straight-in shot at the top left-hand corner pocket. If you're a little bit concerned with getting jacked up over the 9-ball, I understand. Just rearrange it to fit your game. The idea is not to copy my plan. The idea is to come up with your own plan that makes sense for your own game. Being a little bit jacked up has never fazed me much, so I'm not concerned about it. And now you're going to pull back again just a little bit on the 7 ball because you want to be on the just slightly on the left hand side of the 7 ball line in order to again pull back and get right on the 8 ball, and right would be this position right here. So you can just force it to the bottom rail and bounce up for a perfect shot on the 9 ball. And if you're concerned with all that taking a long time and you don't want to hold up your opponent or be rude, I can promise you this happens very, very fast. And the more you practice thinking like this, the faster it will get until eventually it looks something like this in your head. So the pattern's pretty easy, right? I mean, it's easy, it's natural. You've been playing pool long enough to be able to do this in your sleep. It's like nothing. It's, you already got this game. And here's where it comes in that this is so damn important. Now you're starting the game, seeing the pattern, and knowing and believing you can do it. That it's not this great, magnificent, difficult thing. It's actually pretty easy. So it's already in your grasp and you're already believing you won this game. This is the confidence you won in opening up a pool game. And these are the thoughts and the confidence that you absolutely must have to be a top level winning pool player. You've already won this game. We're just waiting for your slow ass body to catch up and do what you already pictured doing. So you're halfway there, but halfway is not all the way, and the other half of the equation is we have a human body that's very capable of making mistakes in the way of actually winning this game. Yep, we are human and we all make mistakes. So just because you pictured it and doing it perfect and you have the confidence to do it doesn't mean you're always going to do it perfect. And this is where experience comes into play and the ability to change your plan around a little bit and work around your original plan or change the plan altogether and start all over from scratch in order to see another plan, in order to gain the confidence to say to yourself, I got this, I can do this, it's not a problem. So we're on the right path, but you'll soon find out as soon as I shoot this one ball, I come a little bit too hard off the right hand rail and get a little bit too steep on the 4 ball. So now I'm just adjusting my plan to try to get the same position I wanted on the 5 ball by going 2 rails back and forth across the table and getting that straight in shot on the 5 ball, but I fail at that too, and I don't get straight, and I get on the left hand side of the 5 ball. So now I'm changing the plan for both the 6 and the 7 ball, but the agenda is to get this position that I originally wanted on the 8 ball in order to get on the 9. So let's go back a little bit, and now I'm shooting the 6 ball in the side instead of the top left-hand corner, and I'm stunning over behind the 7 with the angle to shoot the 7 in the bottom right-hand corner and bounce again 2 rails to get right on the 8 ball, and this is where we originally wanted to be on the 8 ball, and I want to be again, but I failed to do it, and now I'm in serious trouble on the 8 ball. The natural bounce off the rail is going directly into the 9 ball, and there's other ways to do it than I actually ultimately do it, but I take a chance and I just bang hard into the 9 ball to send it up table and on the left hand side of the table in hopes to have a shot on the 9 for the top left hand corner. Let's go ahead and watch the game and see how it all plays out.
In. 6 in. 0-4. Thank you.
Alright, the one ball goes on the break in the right hand side pocket, and I almost never want to do that because we don't really know exactly where the two ball is going, and I'm trying to control the one to get down by the top right hand corner pocket. Nevertheless, this is what we have, so let's go ahead and start the plan, and we're drawing off the left-hand side rail to get on the right-hand side of the three ball. If we look at the three ball straight in line, we want to be on the right-hand side. Now, if we get straight in, we can roll up for the short side of the four, but you really don't want to do that. And if you get on the left-hand side of the three ball, you're going to be in big trouble. So the whole big key to this game is getting from the 4 to the 5, and this is the position you want to be on the 4 so we can draw the cue ball over that 8 ball and hit the right hand side rail and come down on a steep angle so we can get a steep bounce on the 5. In this way, it'll be relatively easy to get from the 5 back on the 7. And from the 7 over to the 8 is going to be easy enough. And you want a little bit of an angle so you can stun the cue ball off the right hand side rail and get perfectly straight in on the 9 ball. That's the plan. And after consistently practicing thinking this way, this is mental practice here as we play the game, it's going to get faster and faster, and eventually it's going to look like this. Well, again, not everything goes as planned, but starting a game with a plan and being sure that plan is absolutely the way to start a 9-ball game. Things go a little bit awry when we get stuck too close to the rail on the left-hand side rail on the 4-ball, and I want it to be up further on the table right about here. I get jacked up in order to draw and spin this ball back up table for the 5-ball, and I shoot it too hard. I barely nick the 8-ball going down table, and I get a really, really bad position stuck up on this 7-ball. And I did the best I could, and I tried to give myself as much opportunity as I can, but there's not a whole lot you can do on this 5 to get right on the 7. So I'm settling for a really tough shot on the 7-ball, and I'm telling myself, don't worry about anything. You still got this. Everything's fine. All you have to do is cinch this 7-ball, just make it, and you'll be right on the 8-ball, which is now in the corner pocket because the cue ball bumped it down table as I shot the 5. But it's still kind of hanging in the pocket, so no matter where we get on this table, as long as we're not behind the 9-ball, I'll still have a viable shot, an easy shot on the 8. And it's going to take a little bit of finesse and a little bit of slow rolling to get right on the 9, but I wind up going rail first on the 8 in order to bounce off the bottom rail at the right angle and get as pretty good as you could ask for on the 9 ball. Let's go ahead and roll the bean footage.
Very good.
10. Just start another one.
Yeah.
Alright, that's a 3 to start. It's always a good start. Alright, the problem on this rack is where the 3 ball is, and we don't have much room to work at all on the 3 ball. Plus, we have to go 2 rails back and forth across the table to get right on the 4. So, getting right on the 3 is going to take a little bit of precision, and that's going to come down to whether or not we can get straight in on the 2 ball. I wound up getting on the right hand side of the 2 ball and using the cue ball to break the 3 ball out, and I get a little bit of a roll, and I resume like that. And on this 4 ball, the plan is to get as close to the bottom rail as I can get, so I have the right angle to use the 6 and come off the right hand side rail to get back on the 7, and the right angle, of course, on the 7 to draw it back up to the left hand side of the 8 ball. I want to be on the left hand side of the 8 because I like shooting this particular shot where we're pulling the cue ball back and spinning it back down the table to get on the 9 ball. Just start another one.
Yeah.
Alright, that's a 3 to start. It's always a good start. started.